Bali rocked by a series of earthquakes, and still more on the controversial criminal code. Stay tuned for details. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is December 15th, 2022, and my name is Bruce. Well, it has been an interesting past few days with earthquakes and aftershocks. And while there has been a lot of damage down in the Karangasem region, fortunately, it is not too severe from the latest news reports, and we'll be talking about those in a minute. And the criminal code, there is still so much misinformation and, well, hysteria about the criminal code, and I'm going to leave Bali, I'm never going to come back, I'm going to leave Indonesia, I'm going to move to Thailand, blah, blah, blah. And so we're going to cover this again today, and then I hope that will be done for a while, and on Monday we can go on to some other things. But I'm still working on translating the criminal code and looking at any other issues that may affect foreigners, as well as issues that may affect Indonesians in a negative way in terms of their civil liberties. And at the very end, an interesting story on Tuyuls up here in Buleleng. And if you don't know about Tuyuls, there used to be a TV show about a Tuyul long time ago, Indonesian TV show. It was very funny. So I have some fondness for Tuyuls. And so if you want to learn about Tuyuls, watch the last segment of the video today. And what about the weather? Wow, it has been so hot recently. And here's a weather report. Hot weather in the last few days. Badung and Denpasar can reach 34 degrees Celsius. Air masses from Australia and Nusa Tenggara region will be attracted to the western and northern regions of Indonesia, making the Bali region drier. The past few days in Bali have been very hot, scorching hot, especially down in the south in Badung and in Denpasar. It's gotten up to 34 degrees during the day, and here yesterday in Buleleng it was 32, right now 31. Normally during the rainy season it's around 32 degrees, and so a little hotter than usual. Regarding the current hot weather, a forecaster from the Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Agency, BBMKG, said that the current northern region of Indonesia, namely the Pacific Ocean region to the east of the Philippines, there are cyclone seeds occurring, so that there are centers of low pressure in the Natuna Sea, Malacca Straits, and the ocean to the southwest of Indonesia. These areas with low pressure centers will attract air masses around them, one of which is in the Bali Nusa Tenggara region and also in the Australian region. Air masses from Australia and Nusa Tenggara region will be attracted to the western and northern regions of Indonesia. The air that contains water vapor will be attracted to the area, making the area of Bali drier. That's why for now the area of Bali tends to be brighter and hotter. And it is bright too, wow. Amazingly bright for my newly reconstructed eye. The hot and sultry weather also occurs due to hot air temperatures accompanied by high air humidity, and right now it is 74% humidity. Urban areas generally tend to have hotter temperatures in addition to air humidity in Bali during the rainy season, which is usually around 70-95%. How long are we going to have hot weather here in Bali? Well, according to a spokesperson for the agency, he explained that it's necessary to wait for weather disturbances in the Philippines and western Indonesia to subside. He said the weather forecast for the holidays coming up, Christmas and New Year, cannot be predicted at this point with certainty. He said we cannot calculate how many days this will last, but we'll update weather conditions. He said, however, usually cyclone seeds, the lifespan is a week. So he said we need to look back after a week and see what the situation is like. And he appealed to the public not to panic. I love these things when government agencies always say, don't panic, don't panic. And so, if you are hot, well, everybody else in the island is hot too. And what about earthquakes here in Bali? The impact of Karangasem earthquake, dozens of houses and temples damaged. The earthquake that rocked Karangasem during Tuesday and Wednesday caused 63 houses to be slightly damaged, 11 private temples, 7 public temples, 6 houses moderately damaged, 4 temples moderately damaged, 2 schools, 2 private temples were moderately damaged, and the others were damaged, and total of 103. However, the earthquake did not have a direct impact on increasing activity in Mount Agung. Thank goodness for that. Most of the damage was done in the Kubu district, and Chief Executive of BPBD Karangasem said that the earthquake that occurred on Tuesday and Wednesday included 62 aftershocks. The first quake, 4.8, the second one was 4.7, and the third 5.2, and I felt all first 3. Now yesterday there were a lot of reports yesterday about earthquakes still going on. I didn't feel any up here, but that 5.2, wow. And as always, the public have been asked not to panic. And let's move on to the criminal code. And of course, the new criminal code is still a huge issue. So much misinformation still out there, despite articles by the government explaining what is happening, and there's websites and blogs and vlogs and TikToks and YouTubes and all sorts of stuff explaining, including here, explaining that this is not the end of the world, that you are not going to be arrested if you show up here from Australia or a foreign country with your girlfriend or boyfriend and you're in the same room. You're not going to be arrested. You're not going to be denied access. So let's take a look at what the situation is today. Foreign visitors won't be prosecuted for cohabitation, adultery, justice ministry. Okay, the justice ministry is ringing in on this. The criminal code carries a sentence of 1 year in prison for sexual relationships outside of marriage and 6 months imprisonment for cohabitation. However, these offenses cannot be prosecuted without a complaint from members of the nuclear family, according to the deputy for the justice minister. Pak Edwards said those articles are adopted in the Indonesian way to ensure the observance of the country's values and customs without the intention to criminalize visitors. He said foreign tourists cannot be charged with these articles. Not exactly right, but the purpose was not to go after foreigners, and for the overwhelming majority of foreigners, as I've said, you are not going to be impacted by this. He explained that when an unmarried couple comes to Indonesia for vacation, only immediate family members, such as the parents or the children, can make a complaint. To do so, they must come to Indonesia as well. So you're here with your girlfriend, let's say, and your girlfriend's parents don't like it. They can't call up the police and file a complaint. They would have to be here to do that. And is that going to happen? Seemed pretty unlikely. A similar requirement applies to the article on extramarital sex, which requires a complaint from family members such as the spouse or the children. The offense by request method is called delik aduan in the Indonesian legal terminologies. It is meant to defend the privacy of citizens, according to Pak Edward. You can imagine if we don't adopt these articles, authorities in certain areas will conduct raids against adultery and cohabitation and search everybody, including foreign tourists. But these articles prohibit such actions because it needs a complainant for adultery to become a criminal offense, Edwards said. He said foreign visitors should not worry about coming to Indonesia because of the new criminal code. There's no way you will be charged with these articles because it's an offense by request of the parents or children or spouse. The criminal code seeks to replace the centuries-old justice system adopted by the Dutch colonial era and will come into force in 2025 after a 3-year dissemination period. So the sky's not falling, folks, and here's the Justice Department saying so, the Justice Ministry saying so. And the Hotel Association is still riled up and wants clarification. Hotel Association demands clear laws on adultery cohabitation, and they've called for the government to coordinate with stakeholders to issue rules overseeing raids at hotels. Now, where did the raids come from? In all honesty, raids by the public order agency Satpol PP and the police always unsettle the hotel industry and discomfort our guests because the raids usually arrive with a whole squad and bring the media. How many raids have there been recently other than immigration violations? Therefore, PHRI Deputy Maulana Yusran said in a commission hearing the other day that the Hotel Association had to make an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, concerning raids with the police every year. He admitted that he was concerned when the new criminal code was enacted. Negative responses and concerns was raised by countries that have become the target market for PHRI. He also hopes that the government can provide proof that there's nothing to worry about from the enactment of the new criminal code. He said sooner or later the dynamics of the negative responses from our target market countries can harm the tourism sector. It is necessary to make clear rules governing raid patterns in hotels, especially those related to adultery and cohabitation. Okay, and the Justice Ministry's already said, ain't happening. There are not going to be any raids. I didn't see anything in the criminal code talking about raids. It is, as I've said several times before, complaint-based. The police cannot just decide they're going to go in and do a raid in the hotel and round up people. And there have been talks and rumors from foreigners that, cancellations, tons of cancellations happening, and counter-push from the government talking about more and more people are coming, planes are still full, this is not impacting anybody. It just came out recently, the other day, the 6th, I guess, and people had plans already, so they're still coming. Is it going to impact anybody in the future? Maybe people that don't pay attention to the news and aren't really looking for the truth about things, but are willing to get riled up by people who like spreading bad news. But my guess, my opinion is that this is not going to have a huge impact on people coming as tourists. Now, in terms of people coming to live here, I don't know. That's a different situation. We'll just have to see how that works out. And one more thing on the new criminal code, and then let's put it to bed. Indonesia's new criminal code turns representatives into rulers. This is a fascinating article. It looks at the history, the politics, the culture involved, and I strongly recommend that you read this if you're really interested in the criminal code. One is you can get the criminal code, you can download it, and you can translate it yourself. You can just read it through Google. I am going through that translation slowly but surely. I just want to read a few paragraphs of this article. This is a long article, and if you are interested in Indonesian history, culture, the law, I strongly recommend that you read this. After years of debate, protest, and delay, the Indonesian parliament passed a new criminal code that gives the state new tools to punish a wide range of ideological, moral, and political offenses. International attention has focused on those passages of the law that ban sex outside of marriage. And I talked about that. Originally, when I talked about that, foreign media was focused on the sex and locally focused on civil rights. But, the article says, the KUHP's real power lies in provisions that threaten political dissent with prison sentences and have the potential to muzzle public debate about the purview of the state in citizens' private and political lives. Here we examine the divergent interests that coalesced to pass the most regressive provisions of the new criminal code and consider their implications for Indonesian democracy. As I said, fascinating article, strongly suggest that you read it. The link is down below. This is the 15th, 9 more days until second home visa starts, and everybody is concerned. And there was more in the Jakarta Post. In the last video, I talked about the article in the Jakarta Post talking about the problems for the retirees. And 2 days ago, the Jakarta Post had an editorial. Welcome, rich retirees. There's no new news here in the editorial. It does support the people that are here on the retirement visas And I'm just going to go over a couple of things that it says here. There's nothing inherently wrong with a country seeking to draw well-heeled individuals to its shore. Other countries also keep their doors wide open for the affluent from around the world. Malaysia, for example, offers Malaysia My Second Home program to foreigners wanting to live there for 10 years, provided they earn 40,000 ringgit, $9,000 per month, and pay 1 million ringgit as a deposit. For many foreigners considering settling down in a tropical country with a relatively low living costs like Indonesia, it may still be an attractive proposition, despite the required proof of funds. It is clear the second home visa was drafted with them in mind. It is not a sinister plan to get rid of foreign pensioners currently living in Indonesia. And there has been a lot of chatter about that here, like the government is going after retirees living on this. I don't think so, and the editorial here supports that. It says, rather, the latter have simply gone under the radar as the government devises new rules. While generally not rich, many of the retirees living in Bali, Lombok, Jakarta, and other places have lived in, loved, and contributed for a long time to their country of choice. Their commitment to the country goes far beyond financial considerations, but even if the government was to assess their value in monetary terms alone, let us run the numbers. If someone has lived in the country for 2 decades and spent a relatively modest rupiahs 100 million a year, and that's modest. I think most people spend more than that. I know we do. That already adds up to the very rupiah 2 billion that the new visa requires. And that is not money simply parked in a bank here, but money actually put to use for the benefit of the local economy. And the editorial concludes, they are waiting anxiously for a government response to let them stay in the country they deem not their second home, but their only home. And so 9 days and counting, still waiting for something from the government about what is going to happen to the retirees. Will there be exceptions made, or will they have to pony up the 2 billion rupees or buy a luxury home? Still waiting. That's all we can do at this point, and hope that these 2 articles in the Jakarta Post have encouraged the government to make some statement and let people know what the situation is. And let's take a look at some tourist stuff. Besakih. Good luck. Visits to Besakih start crowded, dominated by foreign tourists. So, Pura Agung Besakih operational manager said that the number of visits from January to December 2022 reached 90,682 people. Of that number, visits were dominated by foreigners with 73,172 visits. And meanwhile, for the rest, the domestic tourists, 17,510. Currently, he said that the process of restructuring the Besakih area was still ongoing. With a fantastic budget, his party hopes to increase tourist visits to Besakih. Hear that thunder? Especially with a number of more modern facilities. With this arrangement, it will certainly be an attraction and can also provide more comfort. We are also preparing to improve human resources to be able to improve services. And I heard the other day from a friend who showed up here and have a conversation with me that he had some bad experiences when he was at Besakih with some people telling him, oh, you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this, paying for it, then finding out from somebody else, no, you didn't need to have that because you already paid for it with the ticket. And so this is what will be taken care of, hopefully, this kind of confusion. With this arrangement, the operational management of Pura Agung Besakih area is also preparing a plan to increase the price of entrance tickets for foreign tourists, not domestic, foreign tourists. Don't know if you've got a kitap or a kitas if you're going to get to go in for the Indonesian price. We are still studying, he said. Ticket adjustments are in line with supporting facilities. Currently, the ticket price for foreign tourists to Besakih is 60,000, while domestic are paying 30. The arrangement of the Pura Agung Besakih area contains the addition of a number of facilities, and what are those? And I talked about this months and months and months ago. Parking building, information center, arrangement at Margi Agung, and the existence of an economic center to a cinema for screening documentary films. So there's all sorts of stuff there, and this is in line with what's happening around this island as, well, We're really becoming a tourist island here. And here's some bad news. I've said before, Bali is a beautiful island, beautiful place, lovely people. It's not paradise. Cases of violence against women and children in Bali increase. Director of Legal Aid Institute for the Bali Women Crisis Center, Ni Nenga Budawati, revealed the facts of an increase in reports of cases of violence against women and children in the province of Bali for 2022. Based on data from Bali Police Women and Children Protection Unit, noted that the handling of cases of women as victims in 2021 was 241 cases. In November, up till November 2022, there had been 248 cases, an increase of 2.9%. Meanwhile, reports of violence against children have increased by 19%. In 2021, there were 73 cases reported, and now it had risen to 87. The trend of increasing is indeed happening due to the awareness of the public to report, and I think if every year the reports of cases of violence increase, it's good because there are many reports, which means that there must be a lot of people who are reporting now instead of doing nothing as before. Ibu Ninenga Budawati said that she hopes that victims, both women and children, will have the courage to speak out more and the public will continue to report if they know of acts of violence that have occurred. She said, the reason is fear and lack of courage and no support from their immediate family or people around the victims. And so, violence against women and children, still a large issue in Bali. And no bully behaving badly to end up today, but something that I really like. Up in arms, video allegedly of Tuyul in Kayuputih Village, Buleleng Circulating. Okay, so this is in Kayuputih, in Buleleng, and Kayuputih has a lot of foreigners there, but this really doesn't have anything to do with foreigners. It's got to do with this video circulating of a Tuyul. And what is a Tuyul? I will get to that after we go through this. It said that a CCTV recording records the existence of a white figure who's believed to be a Tuyul. The video has been circulating on social media since last Saturday. There are at least two versions of the video circulating. One of the videos only contains moments of residents watching the Tuyul carrying out its actions. Meanwhile, in another video, a woman gives clues to the Tuyul's whereabouts after watching the video. It's not yet known with certainty about the truth of the video. However, the circulation of the video on social media has already made local residents uneasy, mainly residents in Banyar Dinas Iran Kayuputih Village. The head of Kayuputih Village said that the CCTV footage occurred at the house of a clothes businessman named Gede Anna, and said the video contained residents chasing ghosts suspected of being Tuyul. However, he couldn't confirm whether the CCTV footage is actually recording a Tuyul or anything else. The video has been viral on social media since Saturday, but exactly when it happened we don't know because it hasn't been directly confirmed by the owner of the house. According to him, the issue is really that people are uneasy because of this. Moreover, there's a narrative that the Tuyul caused a loss of 100 million rupiah, and inevitably this makes residents anxious if the Tuyul will enter their homes and take their money. We from the village government cannot do anything because if you can't see the Tuyul with the naked eye, even if it's there, for example, however, we remain vigilant. There have been no reports of losses, and indeed we have not received any reports of losses from residents. Okay, now, I have heard about Tuyul since I landed here 33 years ago. In case you don't know what a Tuyul is, and there's a number of different definitions of what a Tuyul is and descriptions, and I've heard one thing, and I was looking online and seeing some different sites, and so at Bahasa Bali Wiki there's something, and the Indonesian Wikipedia there's something, and so I'll just go through what they have and then tell you what I have. So a Tuyul is an undead infant in Indonesian and Malay folklore. It appears in the mythology of Southeast Asia and is invoked as a helper by shamans, dukun, or bomo by means of black magic. The creature is used to rob people of their riches. It is a mythical object in the form of a small child. A human is its master. It lives with that person, gets powers from a special Balian who sells it. A Tuyul helps its boss get money. So you have to buy a Tuyul from a Balian, a Dukun. And then you've got the Tuyul, and the Tuyul is going to help you get money. The Tuyul can go and just take money, and you can't see it. That's what I've heard. When I first got here, there was a very rich guy in the neighborhood, and the story was that he had been poor at one point. He bought a Tuyul, and so he got all this money from his Tuyul going around. So, for instance, you can take the Tuyul with you and go into a store, and it will just grab money from the store. Nobody notices that it's gone until later after you're gone. And Tuyuls can, well, they can take a lot of money. And this is a belief. People still believe in Tuyuls. You know, I'm laughing about it because I'm laughing about it as a person that's lived here. I've never seen a Tuyul, but I've had some money go missing, so maybe it was the Tuyul that took it. I don't know. But if you're in Kayuputih, better watch out for the Tuyul because, could be after your money next. And that is it for today. Surgery on my right eye is scheduled for next month in January, so that is good news. And gonna keep waiting for the government to say something about the retirement visa, the people that are on the retirement visa. The retirement visa, according to the circular, ends the 24th. And so, no word yet from immigration. We'll just have to wait and see on that. And hopefully this criminal code flurry of, wow, some real hostility online, a lot of anxiety, a lot of Islamophobia, a lot of anti-government feeling from foreigners, and a lot of concern from social activists, Indonesian social activists, about how this is going to impact them. One of the main things is there's 3 years before this is enacted, okay? And hopefully there will be some changes made. Please remember that the government does get sensitive about people being critical. And so you're going to make a comment that you don't like this, okay? But let's stick to the facts. No wild theories about the government is after foreigners here and this is all some big conspiracy. Far too many conspiracy theories around the world. And my new grandson is here, and here is a photo of grandpa and grandson, and so he's here in the house, and I'm waiting to take him out for a walk with me, but it has just been too hot lately. And we'll be having a 40-day ceremony here, and that will be up when we do that. We're getting close to 40 days. 40 days is what, like 7 weeks? 6 weeks. And so my grandson, I think, is 5 weeks old now, so we'll be getting that coming up soon. And we haven't done any cooking videos lately because of all the craziness around here. And Sue wants to make some upgrades to her kitchen before she does that. So there are old videos here, cooking videos, if you haven't seen any, and there will be some new ones coming. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.